Welcome to another edition of Faust in House with State Representative Tim Faust. I'm Mike Howard. Representative, it's been a very busy couple weeks since you were here last, so thanks for the time to come in here and talk about the issues and how they're going to affect folks back home.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for the opportunity. It's really been a very busy session so far. Somebody commented just last week that the whole session has been like the last week or two usually are, and that's absolutely right. It's been a very busy session so far, and that's good. We're getting a lot of good things done.
And you've ticked off a lot of things like a bonding bill, GMC fix, but an overarching thing that you've been working on all session long is the state budget and a state budget solution. And that's emerging now from the House of Representatives and some of the committees you've been working on. So let's talk first, big picture, the size of our deficit and how we need to address it.
All right. Yeah, the budget deficit, as you probably know, and most people watching probably know, is almost $1 billion. And so we've got to come up with solutions to fix that. We're constitutionally required to do that so that it has to be a balanced budget. We can't run a deficit like the federal government can, so we have to balance the budget. So the first bill that is going to be working on that is coming on the House floor on Monday, which is coming Monday, a few days from now, and we're looking at about 311 million, I believe, is the number of cuts. And some of those cuts are probably good cuts that maybe shouldn't, for things that maybe shouldn't have been fun in the first place. But a lot of those cuts are unfortunately going to be really hurting people and hurting the state of Minnesota in some very significant ways. And some of them are things where we spend $1 on today and it saves us 5 or 10 down the road. Well, by making that cut, that means that down the road at some point in time it's going to cost us a lot more. So it's unfortunate that we have to do those cuts, but like I said, we're required to balance the budget, and so we're doing what we have to do to accomplish that.
I mean, these, like you said, these are difficult decisions, but moving forward this early with some of the proposals to reduce spending will make the problem manageable. Let's talk about one of the areas in particular in local government aid and what that has to do with property taxes. Yeah. How does what your budget solution on LG, how does that compare to the governor's recommendations?
Yeah, our cuts in local government aid are significantly smaller than the governor's cuts. Last fall or winter, the governor unallotted and cut local government aid $250 million. That cost our district a little bit over $1.5 million, just that one cut alone. And his proposal this spring was for another $250 million cut. So the total was $3 million cuts in local government aid. And for people that don't understand what local government aid does, it basically holds down the property taxes and helps provide the services that people need from their local government, the counties and cities and townships. And so with that cut in $3 million, either they cut services, which means they stop plowing the streets, or they have to raise their property taxes, one or the other. That's what it boils down to. And I heard of one county that actually decided to stop plowing their snow because they didn't have the money anymore to do it. And so they basically did what Governor Pawlenty has done and just passed it on to the next level of government down, and so then the townships had to do it. So the bottom line is that that's not a good way to go. That really isn't a budget cut. That's a budget shift. You're shifting the expense onto somebody else. And so we are doing some of that, but significantly less, and preferably none, but significantly less than what the governor is doing. The governor in his proposal was $250 million, I mentioned that, and I think ours is significantly less than 40.
So way less than half of what he's doing.
I think it's less than 20% of what he's talking.
And as I understand, even within that, there's some emphasis to try to make that cut fair for some of the communities, especially in greater Minnesota, who over the years have been hit harder by these cuts.
Yeah, if you take a look at what the governor did last year in his unallotments, the greater Minnesota cities and a lot of the cities in my district got hit significantly more on a per capita basis than an Edina or a Woodbury or really any of the suburbs would have been. And so greater Minnesota, and especially our district that has relatively low property tax wealth, has been hit by, on a per capita basis probably worse than almost any other district. So those cuts to local government aid are particularly devastating to my district, which is why I'm particularly concerned about them in the governor's proposed budget and why I'm so strongly opposed to cutting those this time around in our budget.
Well, I know you ask folks to contact you with their questions and input about the budget as the session moves forward here.
Oh, absolutely. We like to hear from people. The best way is to email us, to go on the state website, find the email address, and email any concerns they've got. We try to get back to everybody. Once in a while one slips through, but we try to get back to everybody. They can call if they prefer that. The number is 651-296-0518, and we'd love to hear from them. Whatever method of contact works the best for them, we'd love to hear from them.
Thanks for coming into the studio, Representative.
You're welcome.
This has been Faust in House with State Representative Tim Faust.